That was not a pleasant watch by Tennessee. 75-62 is your final as the Vols fall to Illinois here inside Bridgestone Arena. And the frustrating thing about this game, for all of the mishaps that happened for Tennessee, they pretty much had the outsiders' chance to kind of win this thing in the final 4 minutes of the game. But when you hit that 3-minute mark, all but the wheels fell off for the Tennessee basketball team, and Vol fans quickly started heading towards the exits. But Tennessee can course correct if they do these things. Let's talk about it. I'm Paige Dauer. This is the Sports Page from Nashville.
They know what they're supposed to do, but they're not doing it. It's the best way I can tell you. And I think they would tell you that. Would you agree with that, Bishop? They know what's supposed to happen.
Where Tennessee had been dominating this entire game against Illinois is eventually what ends up costing them, because they weren't dominating in that one aspect, and it's rebounding. So about the 4:21 mark, Jacoby Gillespie drills his triple try. I think it's his third of his 9 attempts that he makes in this game, and it makes it a 6-point game, 66-60. But what happens immediately following that? Illinois drills a triple try. It's 69-60. And what happens in that moment? Well, it's overhelping by the post players. It's overhelping by the bigs. This time it's Cade Phillips who overhelps, and it leaves an Illini wide open in the corner. And how they had been shooting this entire game, you can't afford those types of mistakes. You can't afford that type of miscommunication. And that's exactly where Illinois makes them pay. They get Tennessee out of position, and they knock down the triple tries. Anywhere from the perimeter was kind of free game for Illinois. And you're kind of maybe pressing a little bit, down 9, you got 4 or so minutes to go, but it really cannibalizes itself within about 3 minutes to go. It's a loose ball turnover by Nate Ahmet, who we'll talk about in a minute. Illinois gets the steal. They take it the other way, but the defense, they kind of show up here, and the steal happens at the 3:03 mark. Felix Okpara gets a block. I think it's one of a couple of blocks tonight. But what happens? Illinois, they recover the ball, 2 offensive rebounds, and they finally make the three-pointer. So Tennessee was not able to, get back on offense. It's about, 30, 40 seconds that they're down there. But it probably felt like they were down there for 5 minutes. Tennessee just could not get out of their own way. They couldn't get a rebound if it hit them in the face, let alone out of area, which was really frustrating because they absolutely dominated in that regard. And it just comes down to being ready for the moment, and Tennessee was not tonight.
It's concerning when you don't play the way you practice. That's what's concerning, and that's what I've said, and we still didn't do it. Bishop is a guy that you watch him practice. He does what he does in practice. He does what he does in games, and you don't want surprises. And but right now we are who we are, and the fact is we're inconsistent.
But Tennessee is facing 2 real problems as they, have a week or so off before they get to their next game, and it's a pretty easy December moving forward for the Volunteers before they get to January when SEC play really ramps up. And the 2 problems, it's going to start with Nate Ahmet. He has got to get going. It's either from his own toughness, it's his shot selection, and it's not turning the ball over, and it's a little bit of helping on defense. He at times appears lost on defense, and that's why we see guys like Cade Phillips over helping and then by default leaving a guy wide open to knock down a shot. He has got to get his wits about him on defense. On offense, I know he wants to drive. Rick Barnes talked about it. You can see in the way that Nate Ahmet plays. He wants to drive to the rim. He wants to get the contact. He wants to, get the foul. He's not strong enough to do that. He loses the ball time and time again. A little bit of contact and the ball is knocked loose, and that's what happened at the end of the game where the wheels fell off. He's got to find a way to get tougher there. He's got to find a way to get stronger there. As far as the driving, because he's not strong enough for that, I think he needs to find the trigger for the three-pointer. There's a lot of times during these games where you'll see that he looks up at the basket where he's got a split second to shoot the ball, and he just pulls it back down and decides to drive once he's got a body on him. And for Nate Ahmet, kind of where he and Jacoby Gillespie go is where this team will go. For Rick Barnes, his offense is led by his guard play. He's not getting a ton of good guard play from the holistic approach. You look at Bishop Boswell, he's doing pretty good. He had a couple of three-pointers tonight, which we hadn't seen a couple of three-pointers since the beginning of the season. But he has got to get Nate Ahmet going for this team to have hope come January.
Nate's going to work at it, and it's all new for him. I mean, he's getting game plan for it like he's never gotten game plan for it. He's learning how to play defense on the perimeter for the first time in his life. Teams are obviously saying, hey, we can go at him here, try to get him in a switch situation, back him down, all that. That's all part of his growth process, but he'll figure it out.
I mean, truly, Nate did not have a great night at all. It was a pretty poor performance by Nate. He was 4-14 from the floor, 0 of 3 from the three-point line, just 4 rebounds and a pair of turnovers. The coaching staff was seemingly and obviously very frustrated with the way Nate was playing against Illinois, that they actually pulled him from the game for a stretch. About 6 minutes, Nate did not see the floor. Though when he returned, he had the right kind of physicality. One included a really strong putback, but that kind of gets overshadowed because he had that loose ball turnover. He's like trying to pass the ball near the guy's shins. It's just the types of plays that he was making and pressing when he was under the basket. Like, it just didn't make any sense. He has to get going. The second problem facing Tennessee, it's going to rely on the leaders. Right now, Tennessee lacks rhythm, it lacks chemistry, and it lacks discipline. All of that's going to come from finding voices within the leaders, and it's going to start within practice. All those 3 things, the discipline, the chemistry, and the rhythm, they'll find it in practice. Unfortunately for Tennessee, they have found it in practice. It just isn't translating onto the floor for whichever reason. Even talking to Amari Abram after the game, he didn't really know why either, that it wasn't translating onto the court. But it comes down to Tennessee finding its purpose again, finding its identity, its mental focus. They found it against Houston. They've just not been able to replicate it in any sense since that Houston game. 3 straight losses now for the Tennessee Volunteers, Kansas, Syracuse, and Illinois.
Bishop, I thought he always plays hard. He's trying to do it. He's got a voice, and I appreciate him trying to let his guys know how hard it is to win at this level and play 40 minutes. And we haven't done that 3 games in a row. Now, we haven't really done it since the Houston game, where we put together 40 minutes. And the competition that we're playing right now, they're going to take advantage of it if you don't. And Illinois certainly did that.
He tells me the message for this team is just really just to keep fighting. They've got 30 or so games left in the regular season. There is a chance to be the team that they want to be. It's just going to have to start from them. There's only so much screaming that Rick Barnes can do to incite some inspiration in this team. And I think he's kind of maybe at that limit at this point. And it's really just going to have to come from the team, you know, wanting it individually and then wanting it together. I mean, Rick Barnes was all but out there, you know, running the plays for them against Illinois on Saturday night. So certainly not the way that you want to go into this stretch, but I think for Tennessee, they absolutely know where they need to improve. But that's all we have here from Nashville, from Bridgestone Arena.